What's up, everybody? Today we're going to continue where we left off the last video. We are going to now, we've got our base textures in here, right? Now we need to go and start applying details to our texture, okay? So how do I want to tackle this? So let's try. So again, I'm trying to keep these videos like 15 to 30 minutes. So in that time frame, what I'll do is I will I guess first thing is maybe we'll start. What you want to do is you want to create like a vertical slice, is what sometimes you'll hear a lot of game developers and stuff like that use that term. And what that pretty much means is just like, give us a piece of what the final game will play like or look like. In our case, it's going to be what is the final quality that we're looking for. Okay, so we got to select a piece here of our asset and try and get, what is that quality bar. Okay, so I'm going to select, for our purposes, I'm going to select maybe this wood plank, just this one right here. So let's take a look here. Let's go wood. No, it's like wood roof. And what I'll want to do is, because there's a lot of, things in the kind of, on top of it and stuff like that, I'm going to want to create a mask. So let me show you how to quickly do that. So this is the hide or ignore geometry button here. Okay, right now you click it, nothing's gonna happen. Actually, hold on here. Let me try and I don't know if this is useful or not, and I do want to get your feedback here. Key viz. Let me just turn this on. There we go. That way you can see my mouse and any of my buttons and stuff that I'm pressing. There we go. Okay, so let's start adding some mask. Okay. So we're going to add some masks. And what we're going to want is we want to... I already forgot the button on how to like select all of these and just like kill them all. And I'm way too lazy to figure out... Okay, so this is the plank that we want, right? So you know what? I'm actually going to turn off all of everything but the planks. Okay, I know that there's a hotkey somewhere. I just don't remember it right now. But there it is. Okay, so here's all the planks. Okay, the one that I really want to focus on is this one. So yeah, so now it has this number. So there's 11 objects now that are in this that's in this mask. Okay, so I'm gonna click off of it. And then if you want, you can... Yeah, so there we go. So we have all that. Cool. And then now you can click this on and off when you're like in an actual material to kind of turn everything off if you don't want to see it. Okay, so normally I'd be using my Cintiq, or my XP pen, but I'm kind of working on my monitor right now, so I'm going to be doing a lot of this on my mouse, and then off stream or something like that, I'll actually paint this stuff in with my Cintiq. But okay, so what I like to do, okay, and again, this is just how I like to do things. People do things differently. I like to do a couple of things. I like to typically... I'm going to duplicate this. Oh, sorry. I'm going to duplicate this asset. And what I'll do here is I'm going to go red roof. I'm going to go... Let's just go, for now, I'm going to say highlight. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the color. And I'm going to choose a color that I'm going to use, that's going to be highlights that I want to paint into into the material. Okay, so and I try to use like complementary colors. So for me, um, so red. Usually the opposite of red is like a green, right? But I think for this one, let's try to do like maybe like a let's do like a yellow or something. Okay, as the highlight, and then we're gonna go add black mask on this, and we're going to go to paint. Okay, so we'll do something like that, and then I always make sure that the flow is like super low, so that you're painting things in gradually. Okay. So again, normally I would do this with my Cintiq. So what I'll do is I'll start off with some bigger strokes here. Right, I'll start off with some bigger strokes here. Try and do some little highlights. Little highlights here. Okay. Sorry, like choked on some water earlier. And then you can go and refine that later. Let me see what so my brush is a bit hard as well. Maybe I'll move this out of the way. Right. So I'll start to like this is not easy to do with a mouse, but okay. So we get some highlights, and again, I'm doing this roughly for now. And then what I'll do is instead of highlights, I'm gonna go shadows. And then I'm gonna add a black mask here as well. I'm gonna go to paint, and then for the color, this one I definitely want to go like a complementary, and maybe I'll go something like a darker green, something like that. Okay, and then for here, this is where I'll start to paint in some shadows. Okay, and again, I'll start with like maybe some bigger, broader strokes for the shadows here. And this just takes a lot of time, right? This, you got to go in, paint it. What you can also do, okay, and a lot of people like to do this, and I am one of those people that likes to do this as well. I'm just gonna quickly paint a bigger highlight here. Is what people like to do is they will actually add like a generator, right? Just to kind of start things off. So maybe you want to do, like an AO or like a curvature. So curvature. All right, to kind of give you like a nice kind of quick result here, and then after that, going in and painting some on top, right? So something along those lines, right? Kind of giving you just a bit of a head start, right? So you do something like that, right? And then going in and actually painting in that stuff, and then I can even like lower down, like if this is just too crazy, right? But at least now it gives me a start. And then for shadows, I can do the same thing. I can go add generator. I'll put this at the bottom because you want to paint on top of it. And then for here, maybe we do an ambient occlusion, right? Which is not really doing what I want. So maybe instead of ambient occlusion, you go like a dirt. Nope, not liking that either. I think ambient occlusion is correct, and then I think what we need to do is we just need to invert it. All right, so then now you kind of get something like that. You can bring it in, bring it out. You know, you kind of choose how you want to do it, and then you paint on top of it, right? So to see how you see when I'm flicking the painting on and off, and then again, don't worry about this part because this is just going to be the metal, so you're not really going to see that anyways. But yeah, so now you have kind of like a head start. So you have like a curvature to help with your highlights, and then you can kind of go in and then start painting in more of it, right? So yeah, so I'll go in, I'll continue to paint a little bit more here, and then, you know, because this process takes time, like a lot of time, right? And you know, people might see like a final portfolio piece and feel like you know, it's kind of just happens, and but there's a process that kind of comes into play here. Now what I'm starting to worry about is that we're starting to lose a lot of the red, right? And that's not the point. Like, we're not, the goal here isn't to remove all the red. So we got to kind of come in here and figure out, like, this is probably like I probably went overboard here, right? So I'm just gonna invert by pressing X. So now I can start to remove some of this, because I feel like I've kind of gone overboard. And I think this curvature is a little bit too much. So I'm gonna kind of lower that down even more. And then yeah, then now we're gonna start removing some of the stuff that I've done. Because I feel like I definitely went overboard. I am seeing some UV stuff happening here, so I gotta go check some of the UVs later. I feel like I don't have the soften harden border edges in my Myosine for that piece there. So I gotta go check that out. But we'll do that later. I won't do that in this video, I'll probably just do that offline. But that's usually what's happening there if you're having seams and stuff like that popping. But yeah, so now we have kind of the highlights. There we go. And then maybe in the green is looking pretty decent. I actually don't mind the green. And then, you know, here I might just kind of go in a little bit more and just kind of paint. Hold on, this is still the white, or paint in a little bit more. A little bit more of that green into the kind of the crevices and stuff. Kind of help give it some shadows. Kind of give it some color. And then I would do that on all of these planks, right? But the most important thing right now is we're trying to just get one piece looking good, and then that way we know like what is the quality that we're aiming for. And then we can always reference back like, okay, yeah, this is what we're trying to hit. Right? So yeah, so that's looking pretty decent. So yeah, so now if I go back, so you know, you're going to see it from like this view. Right? And yeah, so you can kind of see that plank versus like everything else, and how, you know, there's just the extra love that's kind of given into it. I think I would definitely want to kind of paint more like shadows and stuff into these little areas, just to kind of highlight it a little bit more, right? Just even adding, you know, that shadow there really kind of helped popped it out. But yeah, so you know, that's kind of how I would go. And I would try to kind of do that per like material, right? So I have one now for wood that I want to kind of aim for, and then I wanted to probably want to do one for like metal, and then one for the stone. And then that way you have at least one piece in your uh in your in your art where you can say, okay, well, this is kind of the quality that we're aiming for. This is the vertical slice. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, I'll see you guys all next time.